When it is time to get a new roof, one of the times where you may be looking up and going, what the heck is going on, is when your old roof is being torn apart. They even call it a tear-off in the roofing industry. Today, on Roofing Explained, we have got Mike Feasel, of course, our roofing expert, to tell you everything you're going to need to know during the tear-off phase of your roof. Mike, thanks so much for joining us once again, man. It's great.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Man, I'll tell you, so every homeowner who's ever gotten a roof done or seen their neighbor get their roof done, when that old roof is coming off, boy, it looks like they're just tearing the house apart right there.
It's a scary project when if you're not used to seeing that take place. Yeah, 10, 15 guys on a roof and material flying everywhere.
Yeah, you've got stuff coming off left and right and nails, and now you see wood, and you see, in some cases, you can see through the wood because it's gone rotted underneath.
Yes.
Just walk us through. Homeowners out there, they're about to get their roof done, or maybe they've seen their neighbor get their roof done. When you hear the word this tear off and removal, what exactly is that process like and just your average home out there in America?
Yeah, so let's just talk asphalt shingles. The most common product put on homes is asphalt shingles, about 85% of the U.S. You're really removing the shingle layer, which is an asphalt shingle. It's very thin. You're not removing the structure. Unless the wood is bad, you don't replace it. So you're really removing the waterproofing layer.
Now, when I talk about the actual tear off of old materials, what exactly are they tearing off down to? Because you've got the shingle on top, but there's stuff underneath the shingle. What happens in that process?
So underneath the shingle, you have what's called an underlayment, most typically a 15-pound felt paper, and that is just a waterproofing barrier. It's also a vapor barrier so that you don't get condensation beneath the shingles, which can also rot out the wood. And today you're seeing a lot of synthetic underlayments, which is a lot stronger. It's a better product. So really you're just removing the underlayment and the shingles, all of the nails. You go in and look the deck over, the plywood or the sheathing board, replace any of the damaged wood, make sure everything is nailed down tight, reinstall the underlayment, reinstall the roof with all of the flashing details. Anytime you hear the term flashings, that's where you're keeping the water out of the structure. A flashing is around a skylight or a chimney and other areas, any penetration in the roof. So
what should someone expect underneath their roof? Because if some cases you've got a 15-year-old roof, we haven't even seen what's underneath it. Are there times where you may need to replace everything, even the wood that is underneath that particular shingle?
Far more than not, 99% of the time, you're going to know that decking needs to be replaced. When you walk on the roof, it will be spongy if it's plywood. Also, looking in the attic, you can tell the condition of the decking. There are times you may not, but it's very, very rare. So you should know on the front side, on the contract, they should say how much they're charging per square foot or per linear foot, depending on the type of wood that they're going to charge. So you know that on the front side, there's no there's no surprise there. The question is how much is bad.
What should a homeowner expect to be replaced versus what can be, let's say, repaired or put back on there, detached and put back on? We've talked about gutters in a previous episode where they can be detached and then reapplied back to the existing structure. Is there anything as the tear-off is happening that can be taken off and reapplied, or does everything up there just need to be replaced, in your opinion, depending on the condition of the roof?
Yeah, everything is going to be taken off and reapplied. The only, your skylights can be reused. The flashings along masonry walls many times will be made out of copper or a really good thick gauged metal, and they're ground and then tucked into that masonry, so it's watertight. And in a case like that, you can leave that in place. But for the most part, everything is going to be demoed, removed, and reinstalled new.
So let's talk about the actual demo itself, if you brought it up here, how that actually works. Because I've seen different machines being used all the way down to literally somebody with a flat shovel up there just underneath the shingle going right at it. And then I've seen other people I've seen people with what looks blowers up there blowing off old shingle.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is that when I see somebody up there with a shovel going underneath my roof looking like they're just, shoveling sand, I mean, that can be an unsightly thing.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I've got to think that, hey, it's roofing. I mean,
That's it.
This ain't something that's going to be pretty up there.
No. And 99% of the time, they've got the shovels with the teeth and a little pry bar on the back so they can get leverage to it. And that's pretty much how roofs are torn off. It's not an easy job.
No, it's not an easy job. But I think a lot of homeowners might think, hey, today's world, there's got to be a better way to do this.
No.
But no, you're gonna hear a lot of noise. You're gonna hear a lot of stuff, coming off your roof. And then I think they might be surprised that some of the stuff is going to end up on the ground, I believe. There's thousands, perhaps, of nails up there that are being taken off.
Tens of thousands. Yeah.
Tens of thousands of nails.
Yeah.
Thousands of pounds, especially on a tile roof. I mean, Lord, how many thousands of pounds that are being taken off of that roof. These are things I think a homeowner should take into consideration and be mentally prepared for.
Yes.
Because it can be a very difficult thing to see for the first time.
Yeah, as I've said, it's important that contractors educate the customer, be transparent. Are we going to cause damage? Most of the time we don't. Do we damage things? Absolutely. Things happen, and we're going to be transparent when it doesn't. We're going to make it right. But we're taking tons of debris off the roof. Things can go wrong, and you need to be prepared for that. And if you set the right expectations, customers are realistic. And most are pretty easy to deal with. It's when you don't set those expectations that customers are frustrated.
Mike, one of the things that you see, at least I've heard about it in large construction projects, are change orders. Mm-hmm. These change orders can be something I think like during the project that changes. Do you see these at the residential home level as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We were discussing wood replacement, for an example. So if there's 3 pieces of plywood that need to be replaced and it says so much per square foot in the contract, they'll take pictures and show you later and it's going to be added to the bill. That's not a change order. A change order is all of a sudden we expose a section of the home and all of the wood is bad, or there's trusses that are cracked or broken, things of that nature. All of a sudden, that's going to be thousands of dollars, could be $5,000, $10,000. So they would stop the project once they realize that's happening, take pictures, and email them to you, show them to you if you're at home, write up a change order, have you sign off on the change order. They're going to stop progress on that project at that point because this is a major change order, and that needs to be done.
I'm very interested to ask you this. You ever seen a pretty bad horror story when it comes to during the tear off, the removal of these old stuff? What's some of the craziest stuff you've seen as somebody tore back a roof? Is there anything in particular that sticks out in your mind? Because I've got to think that a homeowner might believe that, oh boy, what are they going to find underneath my roof? Or what is mine going to look like? But I'm sure you've seen some pretty crazy stuff out there.
Yes, especially when you get into really old homes that are 100, 150 years old, and you start to open those up. And yeah, all kinds of things you come across. Where you have to come in and not just redo the decking, but redo half of the trusses, or really on older homes, it's rafters. It's not even trusses. That was long before trusses. And raccoons nested in attics, and attics full of bats. And I mean, you name it. So a little bit of everything over the years.
Oh yeah. Roofing can be quite the adventure. When you see somebody tearing off your roof, you want to make sure that they are doing it the right way. As a homeowner, don't be shocked, like we talked about. If you see somebody up there and they're going at it with manual labor, don't be shocked if you see the wood or you see the roof exposed for a short period of time. Stay in communication with your contractor. Make sure that you understand what's going on and what their expectations are of you. The tear-off can be a part of the process where you can be a little surprised the first time you see it. So go back, watch this episode, get some of the pointers that we talked about here, so that when that time does come, you're prepared as a homeowner. We thank you very much. This is our roofing expert, Mr. Mike Feasel, and we will see you next time here on Roofing Explained.